Hi everyone, I'm Kieran from 81 Vintage, and in today's episode we're going to be doing some thrift flips to resell in my booth. First up is this storage box that I already took over to my booth and it sold in the same day. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have sold so quickly in its original state. I've thrifted a few of these storage boxes in the past and they always sell well. This one had been painted before, so I needed to give it new life. I did try to scratch off the old paintwork, but it just wasn't working, so I decided to give it a coat of texture medium. Ferny paint texture medium comes in two types, both smooth and chunky, and for this one I'm using smooth. It acts like a bit like a gap filler, and I just mixed it with some white paint that I had on hand and gave the whole piece a coat of this paint.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Once the piece was covered, I gave it a little bit of a stippled effect all over just to add in some peaks that would be picked up when I distressed it. I then forgot about this piece and gave it a coat of black paint just before bed one night. So I'm working on a piece over there and I'm also getting ready for stuff to take to the shop. I then distressed this with the orbital sander and gave it a coat of satin ferny paint sealer, and I didn't quite get stage shots of this because I was heading to the shop and just chucked it in the back of the car. That storage box walked off to its new home for £25, and I think that's quite a good flip for the minimum effort that I put into it. Next up, I found a load of amateur art at the thrift store. I've seen a real trend on this of Instagram where people are putting art now in kitchens and places like that. So I picked them up, but I knew that they wouldn't sell in their original form, so they needed a little bit of Kieran magic in order to make them saleable again. Amateur art sells really well, especially if you can find these nudist pieces. This set of flowers also seemed to sell really quickly. I just picked ones that I thought would look good on a shelf in a kitchen with a load of pots or something like that. But the frames were no good, so I took the pictures out of the frames and worked on them. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you might find multiple pictures just like this one, and actually, the second picture was better than the first. I removed all of the frames off all of the pictures and popped them to one side. Once the art's been taken out of these dated frames, it looks so much better. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm actually going to be producing some of my own art to try and resell, but it still wasn't quite sellable just yet. Once I'd removed them all from their frames, it was time to distress them to make them look a little bit older. I did this just with the orbital sander by running over the top of them very lightly, but making sure to hit those edges quite hard so that it looked like it had been knocking around for a while. And just like that, these simple art pieces were ready to head over to my shop space. Those pictures also sold really quickly. They went for around about £5 to £9, £9 being more of the nudist ones, which are always very popular. I actually went off to an antiques dealer who added a little bit of embellishment onto the story of where they came from and priced them up for about 5 or 6 times what I'd sold them for. That's why I always prefer to thrift my antiques in the wild, because a lot of the times you're just paying for someone else's imaginary story. And the next project is a great one to have in your arsenal. It's a really simple way to be able to transform scrap wood and scrap boxes into sellable things. When people know that you upcycle things, they often pass along things that they think you might like. And me being me, I can never say no. I got sent this box of bits and pieces from my stepdad, and I knew that although I didn't know what all the other tools were, I could make it cool. So I cut a little piece of scrap wood, rounded the edges on the router, but you could always use a sander, and gave it a good sanding all over.
Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through. No limit to what we can do.
I then use my nail gun, and if you haven't got one of these and you make a lot of stuff, you definitely need one, and shot some nails through the back into the front of the piece to join them two together.
Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight.
Now I had the front piece on, I wanted to finish it and seal it with some wood stain. I then also sprayed the inside of the box with some black spray paint just to make it look a bit more finished.
Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
I hope you're enjoying this episode. If you are, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button or to send any of my videos over to a friend who might be interested, as I'm really trying to grow to 4,000 subscribers. I added a label holder onto the front and it turned into this sweet library drawer holder. These sell really well for storing anything, and they just make anything that you put inside them look so much nicer. And I actually kept this box for myself. At the moment, it is holding my collection of vintage scissors, which I'm hoping to do a fun craft with in the not too distant future. So make sure to stay tuned to catch that out. Normally, I would look to sell these for around about £5 to £7, something like that. So cold outside. It looks really nice outside, but it's gone so cold that I'm using the heat gun as a heater. It's not recommended, but it's working, keeping an eye on it. You know, it looks nice. It's breezy, but it looks nice outside. But we've got a cold snap. Right, so next I'm going to be upcycling these old pickle jars into Apothecary jars. I've got a video on this. I've just got the last little bit to do, which is to put the label on the front, and then it needs to be ready. No spiders in these ones. If you saw my short the other day, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'll include it here. I've double checked them, but there is a spider's web in one, so I've got to swish that out. If you'd like to make these jars, I'll include a link to the labels that I use down below, but all I do is print them off, and then I use white carbon paper to draw around the edge of the words and then paint them in. The white really shows up on the black, and it's a massive game changer for making these jars. And if you didn't know, my claim to fame is that Ruby Wax actually bought a bunch of these jars, and she actually has them in her home, which we saw on her latest survival show, that they were in her kitchen, all lined up on the top of like a big cupboard she has.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side, our fears are done.
Once I've drawn around them, I freehand painting in the rest of it with this gold Resale paint, which sticks to this black really nicely, and then I go over it once it's been fully painted in with some more black over the top to make it look distressed and aged.
Oh, the good times just begun. hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. You and I, we got it. We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight.
And this is how they come out. They are a little bit out there, but they sell surprisingly well. I hope you like how those thrift flips came out. There's something a bit different, but they always return good money. As always, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to send it over to a friend if you think they might be interested. And I'll leave you here with a playlist of some other fabulous makeovers that you won't find anywhere else.